Hello everyone, welcome back to my reading of Fate Prototype, Fragments of Sky Silver. We're on Volume 5's third act of Night of Fate, as we continue on with stuff to see, what's gonna happen now that we know that the beast is either Master Therian or Sodom's beast. It's one of the others. Apparently those are two different ones, and it's just that they don't know which gender it is, which it would make sense then if the regular Fate universe was Sodom's beast, and if this is the gender-swapped universe, it would be Master Therian now, so... Okay. Cool. Anyways, let's continue with our reading. One afternoon in February 1991 AD, near Japan Rail Shinjuku Station's east exit in Shinjuku Ward, Tokyo, Saber commonly knew that it was called Shinjuku Alta. Though he hadn't seen it that many times, he'd watched a television which once sat in the corner of the Seijo residence's living room, like a moving painting carving itself into space, which broadcasted a program showing real-time conversations around noon each day. He knew that the spot where he stood, which teemed with people, was near where that program was filmed. He walked among the countless men and women that passed by. His master wasn't sending him any operational instructions. Since the moment he'd manifested in the modern world, in the city of Tokyo, that was a first for him. With his master, Seijo Manaka's victory in hand, all of Tokyo had transformed into a safe zone. It was possible only because not a single hostile servant remained. And yet, the day before last, the very spot at which he stood had been the battlefield of the Holy Grail War. He walked through the city, neither patrolling nor doing reconnaissance, weaving through the valleys between skyscrapers that towered like giant structures described in ancient scripture. He walked down streets more crowded than Camelot's largest markets. He listened to the sounds of countless automated four-wheeled vehicles passing by, spewing vast amounts of exhaust. He simply walked on. Was it a stroll? No, certainly not. That feeling around him as he walked steadily against the flow of the crowd was anything but calm. Many recognized the figure of a tall, handsome young man with blonde hair and blue eyes, but not a single soul could perceive the thoughts hidden within his mind and body. Manaka, Saber murmured to himself, the name of the girl who had summoned him. Where is the Holy Grail? He recalled a memory from deep into the previous night. The Seijo residence, more precisely, it was 3:12 a.m. Manaka had suddenly spoken to him about moving their base from Suginami to someplace else. The ritual will be difficult from here, so I'm moving our base to where the Holy Grail is. The location is still a secret, though. I want it to be a special party, so I'll have you come at the very last moment. We call it a surprise party, okay? Let's do it instead of we. We'll call it a surprise party. Usually how I see it said. We'll call it a surprise party. We'll call it a surprise party, okay? She smiled with her typical grace, gently dissuading Saber from accompanying her, as if she were admonishing a child, like parents in a village warning their child not to venture out into the forest alone. I don't like using child twice in a row. I'm gonna look for a good synonym for that later. I don't like using the same words twice in a row, you know? What on earth were they doing there? Again, when it's the location... Not there, yeah. A base that held the Greater Grail? All opposing factions had been subdued. Even the masters who had by some miracle survived and had completely lost any will to fight. There was nothing more to do for the ritual. Oh, he's suited up. Was there no need to act, anticipating enemies and protecting Manaka, the last remaining master? That could be said, but the Holy Church had yet to declare the ritual concluded. There's a small ritual we need to perform with the Holy Grail. We'll need their help. Then I shall accompany you. No, I'd actually rather you stayed here. Manaka hesitated before declining Saber's offer. We defeated Ryder thanks to you, and we were able to properly finish off Lancer, even in that state she was in. That's right, I couldn't have done it alone. You see, Saber, you've already done what you needed to. The Holy Grail War is over. The rest is up to the Magus, don't you think? But, wait until I'm ready. I'm ready to have my wish granted. It'll be over soon." Her elegant tone was more like someone preparing an elaborate meal. Her form was unchanged. Neither her voice nor her eyes showed any hint of hesitation, and yet something felt off. "It's fine, Saber. You can be happy. You can have your wish granted. You can save your pitiful Britain. For that purpose, the Holy Grail is in your hands, and for that purpose, I will give you everything." Naturally, a question arose. Seijo Manaka, how could she say that with such certainty? How could she declare without a shred of doubt that she would give everything to a swordsman from the distant past who she had only met a dozen days prior? Saber could intuit. Now hold up, is that how you spell intuit? Why is my brain looking at that as not how you spell it? Intuit, I'm looking it up. Is that how you spell it? Because that's like the tax program, right? Intuit spelling? Because that's the tax program. Yep, okay, it is. My brain sees that as the tax program, not necessarily as the other thing. I just realized I'm kind of low. Let me scooch myself on up. Oh, there we go. All right, good. Anyways, Saber could intuit that they weren't merely words. They weren't mere words, but real feelings born from a place close to her soul. One of the many powers granted to him by the dragon's heart which he possessed was the ability, though not constantly, to discern the truth behind words that should be mere sound waves. Buddy, that's called empathy. It came with your human condition. No, I know it means more serious than that, but that just makes me think of when they were advertising that one Life is Strange game, and it's like, I have the power to understand people's emotions when they talk to me, and it's like, yeah, that's called empathy. Most people have that. Because, her cheeks flushed a pale pink, I've fallen in love with you. I love you. With all my heart. No, you gave me your heart. It wasn't a lie. Her voice, her words, they were an unmistakable expression of emotion. Yes, she never lied. Then, adorned with her ever-truthful words, what exactly did the beautiful girl have to hide? So if I just keep waiting, my wish will come true? Is that him who said that? I think so, yeah, because he wished. He prayed. It was precisely because he had answered the world's call that he stood there now. The salvation of his homeland. To protect countless people and preserve the land of Britain. Even after defeating the wicked King Vortigern in a bitter struggle, the relentless Saxon onslaught raged on. With his kingdom ravaged by one crop failure and flood after the next, he had sought the Holy Grail. In the modern day, it was spoken of as a legend. The quest for the Holy Grail, commanded to the proud knights gathered at the Round Table in their newly completed Camelot. If it were truly the embodiment of the Lord's miracle, salvation could be brought even to the land of Britain, exposed to the overwhelming phenomenon of mass migration. He wished for it. Yes, he so desperately prayed for it. Was not Vortigern's true intent, perhaps a form of reconciliation with the Saxons, not the act of a vile king who guided the Saxons to torment the people of Britain? Was it practically impossible to prevent? Even if it was not the whole truth, even if the craven King Vortigern harbored ambitions to unify the British Isles, was it not, in a sense, a righteous act? At the end of his torment, indeed, he had reached out for a miracle, toward the Lord's majesty, gathering the people's wishes, destined to overflow when fulfilled at last. But in the end, his hand did not grasp the Holy Grail. The greatest knight sent on the quest for the Holy Grail did reach it, but like a true savior, he ascended to heaven with its blessing, and the Grail lost its form. Now, if I'm correct, that's talking about frickin' Galahad, right? He ascended to heaven with its blessing. That's interesting. I'm going to hold on to that knowledge. The fact that a pure knight with noble thoughts had received its blessing deeply moved and impressed him. However, the Lord's salvation was not granted to the earth. Death and suffering continued to flow in Britain. The people were exhausted and infants choked back tears. To become synonymous with sufferant. Now, is that a word? Is sufferant a word? Apparently it's a YouTuber who makes videos about Chainsaw Man. I don't think I think it's meant to be sufferance. To live became synonymous with sufferance. I think that's sufferance. Yeah. Okay. I'm typing at an angle. Yeah, sufferance is a word. Oh, I spelled it wrong. That's why. Okay. To live became synonymous with sufferance. Condemning such words was an easy task, but persuading them to believe otherwise was far more difficult. Some called it a curse. Others lamented that their homeland was hell itself. And so, his body had no choice but to continue wishing. Even now he wished. Arthur Pendragon was in Tokyo to save his homeland from a blood-soaked tragedy, and yet, what difference is there between them and the loved ones we once lived to protect? For an instant, Archer's words echoed in his mind. For an instant he recalled the radiant, black-haired girl he had saved in the Rayrukan forest. Her trembling eyes. He was uncertain if they hinted at an aptitude for magecraft, but they were crimson, pale in pigment. They held a flickering spark of life on the verge of fading. The color of emotion displayed when one longs for rescue and it arrives at last. When he saw it, he knew. A single certain realization. Precisely the same words that Archer, a rash commandeer, had once spoken. He could not suppress what stirred deep within his chest. The mad beast, the bowman, the helmsman, the spearwoman. Closing his eyes, the last moments of these fallen heroes appeared, each one of them with their own wishes held within. Did they not all abandon their wishes and die for something noble? He could not say, for certain. Even his sharp intuition could not see so far. And yet, even so, the sense of reverence toward the greater grail said to slumber somewhere beneath Tokyo, honored as the most supreme of holy relics, just as the Holy Grail he once sought in ancient Britain was. What? Let me try this again. This is a long sentence. And yet, even so, the sense of reverence toward the greater grail said to slumber somewhere beneath Tokyo, honored as one of the most supreme holy relics, just as the Holy Grail he once sought in ancient Britain has faded. This is an awkward sentence. I'm going to come back to rewrite that one, because that's a tough run-on. Rather, at that moment, he could not help but view it with great suspicion. As for Castor, he had prophesied it explicitly. The morning after the battle at the temple over Tokyo Bay, lives from Tokyo's innocents will be offered to the greater grail, he said. And so, Saber searched, seeking even the faintest trace of magical energy. The grail that the girl continued to conceal, speaking only the truth while hiding some greater secret. And if the greater grail truly existed, as Lancer had described it, passing under the elevated track stretching from west from Shinjuku Station toward Okubo, Saber gazed up at the sky. It was not the sort of vast sky that stretched on without end. It was gray, somewhat cut off by the newly constructed Shinjuku government building and other skyscrapers. The murky sky, as if forgetting that the sun had ever been at its zenith, resembled another view that had once been overhead. Saber narrowed his eyes and thought of a gray sky, of distant memories, of the days when he swung his holy sword without hesitation for the sake of his homeland and the glory of victory. The distant past. Under a sky thick with dark clouds, sparks flew from clashing blades. The Battle of Sessoin Valley. Is that a real place? Sessoin? If it's British, would it be Sessoin? Where's Sessoin Valley? Sessoin Valley, King Arthur? Battle of Sessoin. Thomas Mallory's Morte d'Arthur. Decisive battle in the War of Rome when King Arthur vanquished Emperor Lucius. Okay. Cool. Alright, haven't heard of this one. The legendary duel between two great warriors. Both with vast armies behind them, they fought a fierce, desperate battle. A fight to the death with the renowned, mightiest general of the empire, the supreme Caesar himself. Oh, okay, so this is against Caesar. Is Lucius... Is Lucius Is that Caesar? Lucius was the dictator or procurer of the public weal of Rome. According to statutes, decrees of how it's the. Well, I don't know if this is the real thing. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. They might just use Caesar because they know he's in FGO. They know he exists, so that's fine. Later, he heard that the soldiers of both armies saw the fateful clash between the holy sword and demonic sword as something beyond human comprehension. There was a Wait, does Caesar have a demonic sword? In truth, there was no way to comprehend the nature of their battle. As the king destined to protect the people of Britain from the long hardship they endured, as the king destined to be their savior, as the dragon forged and set on to destiny by his father, King Uther, he remained a machine for slaughtering invaders. To kill those who came to kill, and kill them all. There was no other way. This was after the quest for the Holy Grail was over. Okay, now I'm looking this up. Caesar Fate. Does he have a... What is his sword? Is it a special sword? Let me see here. Abilities, maybe. Let's see. Development. Let's see. Trying to find, because there's very little, there's nothing labeling him as being in this. History. I'm trying to find like weapon appearance. His sword, Procia Mors. I don't think that's the Yellow Death. Well, come to think of it, now that I look at it, it kind of looks like a similar sword to, like, it looks similar to Excalibur, just in terms of look. Is the golden sword of Julius Caesar? Okay, so it doesn't actually look like it's the demonic sword, but it says it's called the Yellow Death. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? I guess not. Wait, Fate Grand Material 1? Let's see here. Can I check the translation on this? I'm just really curious, right? If we go to, here we go. God bless Beast Slayer. Caesar, Divinity D, Military Tactics B, Charisma, Golden Sword. No, it says very little about it. Okay. Huh. Right? I wonder if this is meant to be Caesar. I'm going to look into this to see if this is actually meant to be someone other. Like, do they mean Caesar is in like Kaiser is in leader? Because the Battle of Sissoin Valley was not Caesar from what I'm looking at. It was Lucius. And does Lucius exist in Fate? Lucius Fate. Lucius Tiberius. Roman leader in the World of Fate prototype. Okay, so, yeah. Wait, so I think this is it. Okay, so no, I think this is meant to be Lucius. Does his name appear here? Oh no, okay. Oh, it's current Caesar. Wait. Oh, it's using Caesar as in the title. Okay. Is Caesar a title? It's a title, right? Okay, Caesar is a title. Never mind. I'm stupid. Okay, sounds good. Okay, that solves everything. My brain is dumb. Okay. So he does. Okay, there we go. Anyways, but this is why we look it up. We double check to make sure. It was around the time they had won the decisive battle of Mont Bandonicus and just barely pacified their harsh war with the Saxons. To be more precise, it was a major battle fought after the fatal crack in the Round Table, once hailed as eternal, had appeared, the disappearance of the Holy Grail, the last shred of hope, the infidelity of Queen Guinevere and Sir Lancelot. After the many deaths of the Knights of the Round Table, after enduring countless misfortunes and calamities, King Arthur chose to fight on. No, there was no other path. Supporting the great Saxon migration, the empire on the continent, the mighty Roman Empire, whose grandeur had been formidable since before the Common Era, had begun to interfere with Britain. Now it sought to extend its sinister grasp further from the lands of Gallia. Merely meeting them head-on would not end the war. if they crossed the sea, all would be lost. We strike. None dared contradict his decree. Had the great King Pellinore, pillar of the Round Table, or the cunning Sir Agravain been present, perhaps they may have counseled the king to have restrained. Both had fallen victim to their accursed fates, though. The beautiful sorceress Merlin, in all her wisdom, remained silent. And yet, on the day the great fleet set sail for the continent, she made a quiet declaration as she gazed upon it from the pier. This nation is destined to perish. She did not refer to the Empire. It was clear to all that she spoke of Britain. Even if it holds out for another 100 years, there won't be any significant impact on the island's history. Or rather, it has already fallen. Britain ends here. What would you say? What would you do if I said that? You had never forgot a single word that left the beautiful half-human, half-succubus sorceress's lips. Arthur met her piercing gaze, her eyes which saw through the world, and replied, "If this was not another one of your bad jokes, I would be furious. Britain shall not fall." Quietly, calmly, as if speaking to a friend of 10 years. To that end, I will do what I am able. He knew what he had to do. And so, even if the unassailable Roman Empire stood against him, he would not flinch. He could not. Then dream on. As long as you dream, you shall win. I don't want a blood-stained dream. He wielded his holy sword to slaughter many. Oh, he wielded his holy lance to slaughter many. Whoa, he's actually using his lance. Cool. Now, leading an army which gathered the last of Britain's lords, he crossed the sea. In the land of Parisai. Now hold up. I'm stupid. I've never heard of this place. Where's that? Oh, it's Gaul. Okay, and if I'm correct, Gaul basically becomes France, right? The land of the Parisai. No, there are people. They're a Gaelic tribe that dwelt on the river Seine. They lived on the lands that became Paris. Okay, cool. I'm friggin' what? I've never heard of these people. He first defeated King Frollo, the Roman governor of Gallia. Okay, stupid question. Is Gallia the capital of Gaul? I'm looking this up. Okay, Gallia is the Latin name for Gaul. Okay. Now I know. I'm learning history. Guys, I'm going to be so honest. It's so sad, but I've legitimately learned more history from Fate than anything in school, because like we don't learn this history. Anyways, he first defeated King Frollo, the Roman governor of Gallia, who had subjugated not only the Saxons but even the Picts. King Frollo was a brave and formidable knight, a fearsome master of the lance, and yet he was no match for King Arthur's holy sword. Arthur cleaved him in two, helmet and all, as he cried out to Rome's glory. Did he have any expression on his face as his enemy's blood spurted upward? No. He merely raised his holy sword to the sky in silence. Sir Gawain brought the cry of victory. Though deeply wounded from a previous incident, the knight had volunteered to accompany him on the expedition, following as part of King Arthur's vanguard alongside Sir Bedivere. After seizing the sword, the accursed Clarent. Oh, is this where Clarent comes from? Which symbolized kingship of Gallia. Oh, shoot. And then is this what you gave to Mordred? Uh-oh. From King Frollo's Parisius fortress, and sending it to their kingdom's own capital. Oh my god, you just hoist your own petard, buddy. Arthur marched his army further south. The exhaustion of his troops was palpable, but they had no choice. The threat, the Roman Empire's embodiment, was already closing in on them and demanded a decisive battle. Finally, he faced him. He stood against the man lauded as the continent's strongest. Put your entire spirit into this, Red Dragon. With that curt command came a strike of overwhelming might, the demonic blade. Oh god, he does, okay, so he does have a demonic blade, this is interesting. Meeting it head-on with the blade of his holy sword, its might, powerful enough to shake space itself, send a wave rippling through King Arthur's body and crack the ground beneath his feet. The pressure was released in a fraction of a second's time. Shattered the walls of the valley itself. A shockwave in 20th century terms. Did that term not exist back then? That's news to me. For myself and for you, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Don't let me down. The ruler of the Holy Roman Empire, its current Caesar, the Sword Emperor. Was that a real nickname? No way, was that a real nickname? I'm looking this up. Sword Emperor? I look it up, and it's all anime bullshit. It's all anime in 4K bullshit. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Lucius? Sword Emperor Lucius? Okay, I type it in and it comes up with Fate only. That's how you know that's the good stuff. Oh, baby. Yeah, baby. Sword Emperor Lucius Tiberius, or Lucius Tiberius. He led the Grand Coalition composed of many kings and commanders, including, oh boy, here we go, Epistrophus of Greece, Mustanar of Africa, Alifatima of Hispania, Micpisa of Egypt, and Polyetes of Bithynia. Great. Dozens of mighty giants who bore the name Fiend, who rode monstrous beasts and slaughtered many with ease. Magi who had discovered vicious destructive arts while unraveling the mysteries of the Age of Gods. Eastern shamans and psychics whose bizarre rituals could twist soldiers to their deaths. And a variety of other supernatural entities, all deployed as weapons with a brilliant tactical mastery. His formidable reputation as the continent's strongest commander echoed even to the lands of Britain. The great swordsman who wielded the crimson demonic sword Florent. Florent. Have we... Florent sword. Florent. Okay, again, it comes up as just stuff from Fate. Okay, so that's not a historical one. Oh, that sounds familiar, though. Also, I see him down there. He looks kind of like frickin' Iori. The great swordsman who wielded the crimson demonic sword Florent with its majestic, imposing presence. A genius of strategy and tactics, a warrior feared as a Rakshasa by the fierce warriors of the East. It was said that the sudden decline of the once mighty Roman Empire's Colosseums in recent years was a result of his very existence. What? Reigning supreme as the mightiest of all. But what of it? As he told the Magus of Flowers at the port, he had never flinched at any foe. How many giants had he slain on his path already? How many times had he cleaved through magecraft, curses, and mysteries beyond human comprehension? Even history's greatest empire, if it stood in his path, all he could do was destroy it. There was no other path forward. Okay, he's kind of cool. He's kind of cool. The red blade is kind of sick. I'm curious about him. All for the sake of peace. To bring salvation to the land where young children sacrificed their lives. Come to me, Arturius, Red Dragon of Britain. Would it be Arturius or Artorius? I don't know. I'm gonna look this up. Is it? I swear to God. Or Artorius. What's the better one? Well, it gives me Dark Souls. That's what I thought. Okay. Let me see here. Artorius. Arturia. You know what? That gets it too close to Lucius Artorius Castus. So just to make things, that makes it really confusing. Yeah, let's just stick with Arturius. Yeah, it says here, you know what? King Arthur on the wiki says that. We'll go with this one. Okay, as much as I'd love to change it to be like Dark Souls, it's not the same. Come to me, Arturius, Red Dragon of Britain. A clash of steel. Another still. As the holy sword and demonic sword clashed, blade against blade, Lucius spoke. Was it the Emperor's call for surrender, delivered after shattering Sir Bedivere's armor with a mighty fist, and then with a brilliant flash of steel, taking a decisive victory over Sir Gawain, a knight whose power under the sun was touted as invincible? Or was it a renewed declaration of war? Holding Florent, the symbol of dominion over the continent, he gave a hearty laugh. Frollo's death was inevitable. He had no path to victory. How could a mere mortal hope to overcome a holy sword wielder who not only slew both Colgrinius and Baldufus, never heard of them, but then crushed the Saxons, Scots, and Picts as well? Then you cannot win either. He spat the words and drew distance. The instantaneous movement granted to him by the wind's blessing surpassed human reaction times. There was no keeping up with it. The Sword Emperor's physical strength was formidable indeed and well-trained. Whether one was an imperial gladiator or a wielder of inexplicable Eastern arts, they would likely be no match. But indeed, even so, he was still merely human. That would make him no match for King Arthur, who had protection of spirits at his command. The fleeting lapse in focus was crushed in an instant. With impossible speed, Lucius's form closed in on him. I've studied you, Arturius. At Somersetintis, sure. They say you slew 470 men, including Corginus and his brother, with a single strike. His sword swung down with a great force. It was heavy. He used the holy sword to parry it with precision, but the bones in his shoulder cried out in protest. His strength, it was like that of a demonic beast. Ha! Sharp canine teeth flashed. A flurry of follow-up strikes. To others it must have seemed as if Sword Emperor's weapon had vanished. Trails of crimson carved through the air. 1, 2, in a single breath they swelled into countless streaks. Had he not reacted in time, Arthur's armor would have been sliced to shreds. Of course he parried every one of these strikes with his holy sword. Ah! Can you withstand my arm of the giant? Brachium ex gigis? Okay, sure. He sneered, standing at the center of the battlefield. What was so amusing? Was being in a place where lives were taken so utterly delightful to him? Ha! How fun! How fun! Bearer of the dragon heart, you've halted my strikes 4 times now. Lucius's kick was absorbed by his sky silver armor. A serpentine kick? Was it Eastern martial arts? He knows karate! Taking the unexpected attack head-on, his breathing faltered slightly. The wound wasn't fatal, so it was merely a minor injury. The immense magical energy generated by his heart, which Merlin had once called a magical energy reactor, combined with the properties of his holy sword, maintained his body's resilience. The wound would heal, only the pain remained. He could bear it. He could bear the pain. He had endured it in forms both tangible and intangible. Almost at the same time as he took the kick, he thrust his knee and elbow outward to snap the kicking leg. Oh no! Interesting. Evaded, with a grin. Was the Sword Emperor who dominated the arena exceptionally skilled in hand-to-hand combat? Then, Arthur swung his holy sword in a smooth arc. The wind shattered. It wasn't a slashing strike. It was an invisible... We've been changing prana to just magical energy. It was an invisible, magical energy-infused diffusion attack. It wouldn't be strong enough to be lethal, but a direct hit would surely create some sort of opening. With a natural movement, Lucius stepped into the torrent of air. In an instant, the deadly blade of wind vanished into thin air. It was far beyond the capability of a mere knight or swordsman. Was it support from countless magi and shamans waiting behind the Sword Emperor, perhaps? Arthur could sense some form of magecraft, though its source remained unclear. It could have stemmed from the armor that he wore, if it were the armor of the legendary hero Hector. Now, if I'm correct, Fate, it's Hector with a... do they go with a C or a K in the game? I swore it was with a K. The North American localization uses K. I'm going to use K. Yeah. If it were the armor of the legendary hero Hector, as was rumored, Okay, so we got a Hector reference. God, it's so cool how it's all connected. Are there other monsters like you in Britain? If so, I shall make them mine. You and your Britain. So this is why the Emperor leads the advance himself? The Magi chatter incessantly. They say the power of the Age of Gods still lingers on the Isle of Britain. I was skeptical, assuming they are merely remnants of the demonic beasts or Picts. With those words, Lucius lunged forward again, a relentless assault that used his entire body as a weapon. Sword strikes, leg kicks, and punches delivered through armored limbs, powerful blows from shifting the weight of his back and shoulders. His single sword couldn't parry it all. Amidst 20 simultaneous blows, 2 strikes, a punch and a shoulder ram. Okay, amidst, let's say Arthur's defenses were pierced. Yeah, there we go. That makes more sense. Amidst 20 simultaneous blows, 2 strikes, a punch and a shoulder ram, Arthur's defenses were pierced. His ribs shattered. Several of his internal organs were crushed. His stance faltered. His grip on his sword wavered. Would the relentless assault crush him to death? No. The power of the holy sword bestowed to him by the Lady of the Lake was far greater than this. A sharp exhale. The flash of an upward slash. A one-handed strike born from his unstable stance, but a counter nonetheless. The holy sword's blade made an arc. A faint golden glint slicing vertically through space. Lucius, who held his demonic sword up high for a follow-up strike, gasped in shock. He brought his blade down with fierce resolve, aiming for the collapsing space. The remnants of the golden flash and the crimson blade clashed in an instant, sending an explosive shockwave rippling across the entire valley. Dust and rock scattered in fragments, filling the air with a thick haze. One of the giants watching the duel from afar roared with excitement. With just one hand? Excellent. You and your Britain are worthy of praise indeed. The Sword Emperor materialized, cleaving through the sandstorm. At first glance, he seemed unharmed. No, upon closer inspection, his left arm had been scorched bare. It had turned a charcoal-like hue, then was swiftly restored by some sort of magecraft. Haha, amazing. This is the advantage of this terrain. The valley's ley lines are already within my grasp. Stop laughing. Arthur, having drawn distance, quietly readied his sword once more. We are trading lives, Emperor. Of course we are. Not just our own. We fight with the lives of countless people resting upon our shoulders. Pointing the tip of his sword towards his opponent's heart. Do not revel in that. Do not laugh. Lucius, that laugh of yours is utterly repulsive. Repulsive? Is that how it truly seems to you? Lucius sneered, effortlessly raising his great sword in his right hand and resting the blade against his shoulder. His free hand pointed toward the gray sky. To rule the continent is no less than to govern all things in heaven's stead. These innocent lives born with divine grace, and these wretched lives mowed down like grass on the field of battle. All are equal. All dignity, all misery, all of it lay in the palm of my hand. His left hand grasped at a formless light as if to seize it. If you too are a king, you must surely feel it, however faintly. Because we protect our people and bring prosperity to our lands, everything is ours, and all is permitted. We are, his left hand crushed something precious, gods upon this earth, the Sword Emperor proclaimed, his smile deepening. The blade of his demonic sword charged its magical energy, gathering crimson lightning. Florent. Whoa, described as the brother of Clarent. Oh! Wait. Hold up. Whoa. Listen. This is crazy for what we're reading right now. Regarded as the brother sword of Clarent, the demonic sword signifying dominion of Gallia, symbolizing rule over the entire continent, said to be the finest sword of all. The lilies blooming across its blade were said to be the blessing of Flora, goddess of the flowers. She was just added to FGO. Oh my goodness! I could put her in the thumbnail and people can freak out! Oh, that's cool as hell! The lily is a flower that signifies birth and a metaphor for the sword. Oh yeah, I guess it would be. Like, think about the French symbol. Oh my god, I never put that together. With the sword emperor... That's not how you spell his name. That's Luscious, baby! Lucius, yeah. With the sword Emperor Lucius turned the sword that signified life into a blood-red flower, our divine ancestor Romulus, oh hey Romulus, vanished in a thunderbolt and ascended to the heavens. What question could there be about myself, the current emperor of Rome, wielding the thunderbolt? Every soul that has walked this earth was nothing more than a frail human, never a god. Arthur readied his sword, then raised its sacred blade high, gripping it with both hands. It would have been easy to dismiss every word the Sword Emperor spoke of as mere arrogance. Yet, as the ruler of the continent, nothing he said could truly reach the man. It was the pride of a king. It was the insolence of a king, or perhaps of a god. It was impossible to tell. There was no need to ponder it. Only his intuition and conviction remained. If there was something to be said, he could say it with his blade, shout it with his blade. Yes, the Emperor Lucius Hiberius had made a declaration with his entire being. So I shall answer, with the weight of the holy sword in my hands. No, you understand. We are gods. We shall become eternal. What? You're no different from me, Red Dragon. I know it to be true. You refuse to acknowledge your legitimate heir because you are like me. Only those with the power to rule this planet, and are certain they will live forever, can reach such a state. This is it. Silence. Holy sword restraint released. Demonic sword restriction lifted. King against king. A fair and honorable duel with everything on the line. Sword against sword. The clash of a holy sword and a demonic sword. Just as Arthur had seen in his dream aboard the ship that night as they set sail from Britain for their continental expedition. A great bear roared as it soared through the sky, shaking a great bear? What? Wait, what? Oh no, that's a metaphor. A great bear roared as it soared through the sky, shaking the entire coastline. A dragon flying in from the west attacked, blazing with light. The dragon scorched the great bear with its fiery breath, then hurled its charred corpse to the ground. The great bear was the Caesar. The dragon was none other than himself, King Arthur. The Emperor was swallowed by a fragment of the Holy Sword's brilliance, vanishing from history itself. The valley vanished along with its terrain, and the Empire's army, with its numerous fierce powers, collapsed. The glory of promised victory had arrived. His honor had arrived. Though the historical event known as the Saxon Migration could not yet be stopped, the great Empire's scheme to trample their small western island had been crushed. A great victory, and a small glimmer of hope for tomorrow. Looking back now, perhaps that was it. His last battle with glory as a holy sword wielder. Okay, what are we doing here? Regarding the manifestation of servants in the modern world, broadly they can be classified into two categories. First, those strengthened alongside their existence in legends and folklore. Those whose historical existence can be confirmed by records would primarily fall into this category. No matter how valiant and daring a general may have been known to be, their innate abilities remain within the bounds of reality. Second, those whose power is diminished by their being cast into the mold of a specific class. This category encompasses beings who truly did inhabit mythology, legends, and folklore. For instance, a great hero from the Age of Gods could undoubtedly fall into this latter category. Of course, this story changes entirely if those in the former category possessed magecraft or other forms of mystery. In any case, there are supernatural beings who hold legend and mystery within themselves. At the same time, they possess minds no different from our own. Who's talking here? The dad. What are you doing here, Saber? Late one night, the Seijo residence. After a few hours of wandering the city in search of the subterranean Greater Grail, it was just past 1 a.m. At the entrance to the hallway that led to, I prefer, the garden. I know garden is meant to be a singular word, but I just think it makes more well, I think. Did we go with the garden? I actually don't remember. I'm going to need to look that up. I don't remember if we did capital or not. I know we changed it to the garden. Whoops, that's impossible to read. I know we changed it to the garden. That's not the right one. We changed it from garden to the garden just because it makes it sound much more normal. But I do want to see it, double check if we did the with capitals. I don't remember. At the entrance to the hallway that led to the garden, Seijo Hiroki called for Saber to stop. He sensed his presence without needing to turn around, and deliberately faced him as a courtesy to the head of the household who had granted him the freedom to move about as he pleased. Deeper wrinkles were etched into his face than that was typical of someone his age. Seijo Hiroki, the head of the Seijo family, wore a quietly stern expression. What of Manaka? He had anticipated the question, yet it still came. Perhaps even he did not grasp the full scope of Manaka's actions. What of the search for the Holy Grail? Castor sent me regular reports until the Lesser Grail was acquired, but he hasn't made contact since last night. Have you heard anything? No. Had Manaka not told the head of her family about her discovery of the Greater Grail? He understood that it was his moral duty to report, as a servant summoned by Manaka specifically and not the Seijo family itself. He could not relay Manaka's actions now. As he considered this, Saber's expression began to darken. Was this truly how he would act as his master's servant? After spending the entire day searching for the Greater Grail, an act that could, in a sense, be called a defiance against her order to stand by. I suppose not. She must be hiding many things from you, just like me. Sir. Don't say it. There's no need, Saber. Even if heaven and earth were simply turned on their heads, I do like those to be capitals, because those are places. Even if heaven and earth were to be turned on their heads, she would never concern herself with her family's safety. She simply judged it to be unnecessary. His words were all too true. After a few seconds of silence, Seijo Hiroki turned his gaze toward the garden. None of the Seijo family referred to the green expanse bursting with countless plants as a backyard. Not even Manaka, who seemed to decide everything according to her own whims. It was an ordinary yard, not an ordinary yard, nor a greenhouse, nor a Magus' workshop. They simply called it the garden. It was said that this stemmed from the head's late wife being British. Oh. Did we know this? I don't recall if we did. She never called it the yard, only the garden. Yeah, because the whole thing is the fact that it's an English word was a special thing, right? Ayaka is over there. She must be lonely without her sister. Go talk to her. But, he began to say, but he was cut off with a wave of a hand. I am long past being anything more than a master of magecraft. I cannot show her the affection that a father ought to, as others could. Many magi were excessively self-denying. The Seijo line was no exception. The Magus most vividly etched into Saber's memory was the Mage of Flowers, who seemed far removed from this sense of asceticism and self-denial. Yet indeed her way of life was a far cry from ordinary people. Though their paths diverged, both ways were transcendent. It's cruel, Saber thought. Those old enough to discern their own path could choose freely, but for a child, it was just too much. If another Holy Grail War were to happen, who would protect Ayaka? The question sought no answer. It was the soliloquy of the head of a family. Well, it's technically not a soliloquy because someone's listening, but... beneath a dark night sky, where neither the moon nor the stars appeared, he spoke as if pleading. He spoke of how dreadful the Holy Grail War was. Through the battle, he had come to painfully understand that it was a brutal manifestation, hardly a struggle between magi who mastered the magecraft of their families, the temple over Tokyo Bay, the God King, the arrow of salvation. I like that being capitalized. There's so many capital nouns, but that's just fate writing, man. That's just how it is. The era of salvation, the demigod's rampage. It had all been such a brutal conflict. Just as those who reach the spiral before us, if she reaches the root, Monaco will vanish. If another Holy Grail war were to occur, my strength alone would be insufficient. Can I truly protect my daughter with hands like these? For the sake of the family line, or for love? Saber did not ask which of the two motivated him. And the Reirukans, little Messiah's survival was nothing short of a miracle. For a lone child to have endured and lived amidst this fury beyond human comprehension. A deep sigh. Was he imagining himself in her situation? If a knight like you were by her side, it might ease my mind somewhat. A half-joking remark, through a bitter smile. Within it undoubtedly lay a desperate wish. The bond between father and child, something that he most likely was never able to possess even at the very end. A distant, bygone era, the end of Britain. His glory crumbled in an instant. After their victory over the Roman Empire, his triumphant return was awaited by treason. Morgan's child, the accursed child who was made in his very image, Sir Mordred of the Round Table, rallied the rebellious forces. Saxons, Picts, and others raised a powerful demonic army in revolt. A bloody civil war. The Round Table shattered, Camelot crumbled, Britain was lost. And then, on Camlin Hill. Father, I shall destroy all which you hold dear. I need nothing, desire nothing. I shall love nothing more than to hear you howl in despair. Arthur Pendragon, that's with 1D. The final deadly struggle with Mordred, who wielded the cursed sword Clarent. Not as a father, not as a man. As the king, he slew the traitor knight with his holy lance. And yet, everything was lost in the flames of tyranny. His people had died. His child had died. To the very end, the day of their salvation never arrived. Or to the end, the day of their salvation never arrived. And so, Arthur continued to deny his blood-stained past. What's this noise? Oomph? Oomph? I don't know. What would that be? The instant his consciousness had refocused from his memories of the past back to reality, he realized that Hiroki was no longer there. Saber had stepped into the garden. He must have advanced from the hall, opened the glass door and entered the place, but he had no clear recollection of doing so. He had walked there naturally. It was not that he had no memory, but it was certain that he had arrived without any conscious realization. While thinking of the past, he felt as if he heard someone's voice. The head of the family's voice? No. The gentle girl's voice? No. Gentle and kind, it was like the whisper of the Lady of the Lake, like he had heard on some long-distant day. Vivian? He murmured the name without realizing it. Then a sound rustled in the greenery beside him. A child, the daughter of the Seijo family, Manaka's younger sister. He could sense her presence clearly without consciously searching for it. Peeking out from the shaded trees, she was watching him. How utterly adorable. It was a warm, teasing charm like a small animal. He knew that he just wasn't good with children, but still he crouched down to meet her at eye level, just as his foster father Ektor had done once for him. Once? No, I know it means in the past, but what expression was he supposed to wear? What was he supposed to call her? The child he met in the green garden late at night, not as a ruling king, but as a weapon to slaughter enemies. Well met, young lady. Nice to meet you. It's a lovely night. And a lovely greenhouse, too. Oh, this is wrong. This is not how a knight addressed a lady in his court. There were no stars out. How lovely could this night have been? And above all else, no, it's not a greenhouse. It's called the garden. Indeed, it was the garden, the tranquil green space that their mother had left behind. Apologies. Yes, garden. That's right. A lovely garden. Hmm? What? That's the girl smiled. Are you one of Papa's guests? Or Big Sis's friend? I'm a knight. Since it is quite late, I shall protect you in your father's stead. A knight? The child looked startled. Had he appeared as too much of a fairy tale? Even if she was young, she should have been old enough to read and write. His trick probably would not work on a child her age. Saber tried to think of a way to correct himself, but no clever diversion came to him. Then we'll have to stick with it. Milady, I shall escort you to your bedroom. Ha! Milady, I'm still just a kid, you know. As he spoke, the child peeked out from behind a tree, revealing herself. Her frightened expression vanished. She had a happy grin. Dazzling. He found himself squinting on reflex. Even though it was surely the middle of night, he felt as if he were seeing the glow of dawn. What's your name, Mr. Knight? He felt no need to hide his true name from her. He would tell her. Something deep within him was screaming that he should tell her. Also, it's just a normal name. My name is Arthur. Yeah, that's a normal name. May I ask your name, young lady? I'm Seijo Ayaka. He knew it. It was a good name, he thought. He didn't know the exact intent of the one who named her, but it seemed chosen so it would rhyme with Manaka's. Ayaka? Manaka? Am I saying it wrong? And this is the garden. Looking a little shy, Ayaka pointed at the greenery. Was she speaking as if it were her own? There was a feeling to her words that she identified with the green garden itself. Well, you see, I thought that the garden was a place to study, but it's not really like that. Papa told me... Is there some hidden secret to it? He asked gently. Mm-hmm. She nodded. Then her gaze moved downward. He waited patiently. 1 second, another. After about 5 seconds had passed, she finally looked up, somewhat shy. The garden is me. She must have had some reason to identify with it. Just as he was thinking so. Because it's something Mama left behind. Just like me. The wind was blowing. Despite the glass door being shut, it undoubtedly passed through, caressing Arthur Pendragon's body and soul. They were words, brimming with kindness and radiance. The verdant garden had been left behind for her, thoughts spun for her sake, where it remained across all those years to the present day, bloodline, fate, karma. No, none of those. I suppose it was what people call love. Past and present. Arthur murmured words in my native tongue, almost without thinking. My native tongue? What? Huh? I'm curious about that. Do they mean in his native tongue? Or have we switched perspectives to Ayaka? No, because it's still his one, right? I assume he said that in English, right? I don't know. Oh, I see. Was it really so simple? Huh? What? Yeah, because now it's his, right? Unless this is a perspective switch here. I'm a bit curious about this. I'm going to leave a comment here. Right? I'm going to say, yeah, this is a bit strange. Perspective change. I'm gonna get a thing for that. Okay. There you go. View, comments, hide. Yeah, that's just a bit of a strange one there. Because I could see this is like, because if this was one thing and then now it's back to his perspective, but I don't know. It's a little strange location. I think it would make more sense if this moved down to like here or something. I don't know. I'll have to double check that. Anyways. Where were we? Sorry, Ayaka. I suddenly began talking to myself. I must have startled you. Past and present were connected indeed. The past was the foundation that built to the present. The world that I sought was here. The tomorrow that I sought must have been you, Ayaka. Thank you, my lady. It was because of you that I finally came to know what I must do. Huh? It is all here, just as your mother left her tomorrow behind in you. Your words connected me. Everything that took place with myself in Britain had surely not been in vain. I left behind a tomorrow that looked like you. Of course, not all of the world could be saved. Bloody, tragic news will still reach us from all corners of the world, but allow us to believe that the land of salvation does draw near. Yes, I have faith. I can have faith. I see the proof before me now. If one is doubtful, look here. Wrapped in the love that your mother left behind. Growing strong and healthy, beloved child. The land of salvation is here. The day of salvation is here. Even if Britain's past, crumbling before colossal events, remains stained with blood as an outcome predetermined in human history. Process and outcome are not a single set. Process, outcome, results, each is an independent human will. Sometimes the act of choosing itself becomes the answer. Beneath the starless sky, he gazed up at the trees. Your mother's decision undoubtedly existed there. To leave love behind in human form, to display the act of love as life itself. What a beautiful, radiant answer it was. I will protect the world, and I will protect you, Seijo Ayaka. Not as a king, not as a man, as a lone hero, so that everyone may leave behind a tomorrow. That's cute. That's cute. Oh, yeah. No, that was adorable by that end there. All right. Well, we are coming up on Act 4. We're looking at it about halfway through the book. What? We're on page what? We're on page 60 of 160. Wait, what? How many? So there must be something other than Night of Fate, unless we're getting long chapters of this. I don't know. We'll see you guys next time then for some more of our reading as we continue with Volume 5. So thank you guys, and we'll see you then. Ciao. Yo.